Pixie,
Winnie.
my sister. So I
Yeah.
read a book
Okay.
and I need to complain about it to you.
Oh, I love complaining.
And
Complain
just
away.
in unleashing of frustration.
Okay.
But it's the third book in the series. And I
Okay.
realize you have no idea what I'm talking about. So to give you a basic idea of what I'm saying, I'm going to give you a summary of the first two books
Sounds good.
with visuals by yours truly.
Lovely. I'm excited.
Now, my dear sister, imagine a world where people have superpowers and those who don't are called ordinaries, where they have to go through trials to the death, where the strong live in an elite kingdom, where a girl without powers is forced to be a thief to survive while hiding her identity, and two princes pine for her, and she joins a rebel organization. And I think I'm allergic to plagiarism. Anyways, so does this sound interesting to you?
It sounds interesting and familiar.
Well, then let us begin on our journey. This is where we have Powerless, and it starts in the kingdom of Ilia, where a century ago, maybe 3 decades ago, I'll go with the century, 100 years ago, a plague went through the kingdom where people got really, really sick, and some people died, but other people got superpowers. Like some have the ability to control fire, and other people got really, really strong, and some people got anime hair for some reason. Whatever. The strongest of these are called the elites. Now, the weaker powered people were sent to live in the slums, which is where our main character, Peyton, and her best friend, Adina, live. Adina is actually quite enjoyable. She's a ray of sunshine who loves to sew. Now, Adina here is also a phaser, which means she can go through walls. And I guess, according to the King and Roberts, this is not a good superpower. I, on the other hand, think this is a really great superpower to be able to go through walls. You would make a fantastic spy. But Peyton here is what you would call powerless. Now, people who are powerless in this world are called ordinaries. And ordinaries are illegal and sentenced to death. Because according to the king, ordinaries weaken people's abilities, which I guess losing your power slightly is a good reason for death.
Very X-Men coded.
All right. And there are other powers that are also illegal in this world. Powers such as silencers, who have the ability to turn off people's powers.
Oh.
And then there's wielders who can use and sense other people's abilities. And then we have mind readers or mind controllers. So all these people are
Mm.
typically put to death if they don't work for the king. This is where our male lead, Kai Azer comes in. He is the second prince of Ilia, and he is the half brother to the first prince. So we'll get to him in a minute. Kai here is the enforcer to the king, which means he does all the dirty work, such as killing all the ordinaries. His power is the wielder, which is the person that can sense and use other people's abilities. Now, obviously, he's going to be kept alive because he's the king's son. The king kills all the other wielders so that Kai here can be the only one. Now, a few quick notes on our girl Peyton before we continue. Peyton was raised in the slums by her father, who was a healer. And because being powerless is illegal, he taught Peyton how to kind of perform that she has a power. So he has taught her how to observe things very well. So she could pull herself off as a psychic.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and her dad died. So he is.
Oh, R.I.P.
So her dad died because of the king. The king killed her dad for reasons as of right now she doesn't know. So she's an orphan, and we will check off that trope box. But one day, Kai is in the slums and he is taking care of a supposed ordinary that has been rumored to be around. But here's the thing about Kai. He's the really big bad enforcer. But he's actually not so big and bad because when people are ordinaries, he doesn't kill them. He sends them to go off into this place called the Scorches, which is a really big desert, in hopes that they can survive. In his mind, he's still killing them because it's such a low chance of survival. But he doesn't kill them like we are told the enforcer is supposed to do.
He lets the desert kill them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Okay.
he doesn't do it. So
I
one day,
see.
Kai, now that he is in the slums, Peyton sees him And she can tell with her power of observation that he's not from here. And he'll also, oh yeah, I also didn't mention about Peyton. She is a thief, which is also
Oh, okay.
so one day she comes across Kai and she pretends to trip and fall and she gives him googly eyes. And then all in the meantime, she steals his money from him and she runs away. So these guys notice that Kai is the enforcer. They recognize him as the prince and they don't like him here. So they're like, get him! And then this guy on the wall over here, he's a crawler, which means he can climb up walls. So that's what he's doing up there. And so they go and they attack Kai because they want to kill him. Now they have a silencer on their team. So they're keeping Kai from using his powers, leaving Kai powerless. So Peyton sees Kai's in trouble, and so of course she goes and she helps him. She takes out the bad guys and saves Kai, saving the male lead.
Wait,
Check.
how does she save him if she doesn't have powers?
Her dad taught her things.
Of course he did. Okay. Gotcha.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Her dad taught her how to fight really, really well, so she could take on three grown men on her own.
That have powers and she doesn't.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, okay.
So I'm going to skip over some stuff. There's a thing in the kingdom called the trials, which is not Hunger Games, by the way. They have them every year, and it's basically a way to showcase how strong the elites are. And to be honest, these trials are pretty weakly explained, in my opinion. Like, maybe you can live, maybe you'll die. It's your choice. But the foundation of these trials just kind of felt like the author just wanted trial. Anyway, so Peyton is chosen to be a part of these trials because she saved Kai. So Peyton is whisked off to the castle where she'll stay during the trials. She gets to
Wait,
go,
they just let her live there?
yeah, she gets to go and live in the palace for a couple of days while the trials are going on. And before the trials begin, Peyton will have a chance to train, talk to Kai, get to know Kai's half-brother Kit. Here's some things you know about Kit. And it's not his powers because he doesn't ever use them. Now, Kit looks exactly like his father, the king. They have the same blonde hair and green eyes. So when Peyton looks at Kit, she can't help but see the man who killed her father because supposedly she was there when it all happened. We'll hear multiple times whenever she looks at Kit, we have to hear how she's looking into the eyes of her father's killer. And she was, oh yeah, she was supposedly there. She was hiding and she saw it all happen when she was a little girl, but when her dad died, she saw it.
So she's got trauma,
She got trauma. Oh yeah.
generational trauma.
Also, with these trials, there will be balls, dancing. Before you fight to the death, you'll get to go to the ball.
In between her flashbacks and horrid memories.
Yeah, she'll be dancing. Now she has a choice. She has options with these balls on her dresses that she'll wear. They say you can have anything custom made if you don't like the dresses here. You can even choose who will make your dresses. And she's like, wait a minute, I got a girl back at home who can make dresses. She's our ray of sunshine girl. She loves to sew. So she'll be making
Aw.
Peyton's dresses from here on out. Peyton gets to have her friend come and live in the palace with her while she's fighting to the death.
Why not? I guess, right? It's kind of like when you give someone their last meal, they get to pick, what they get to eat.
But she gets to have
Maybe.
slumber parties in the palace. She's a nobody. Why is this happening? So it's customary tradition that everyone wears green to these balls because that is the kingdom's color, green. So everybody wears green. Do you want to know who won't be wearing green? Our girl Peyton. She comes in wearing silver to the ball. She's not like the other girls.
Not like any of the other girls.
And so the first trial begins. I'm not going to go into great detail about this, but she wakes up in a forest and she's all, I guess she was like drugged out. And then she goes and she meets Kai. She's like,
Wait, she's drugged?
everyone was drugged. And then they all wake up in this forest.
Oh, I was gonna say, sounds like she had a Cinderella night because of her silver dress, but then she got drugged, so maybe not.
Yeah,
Okay.
not that. From this point where she wakes up to her finding Kai, she's kind of like in a near-death situation right now because she's been fighting other people and like not doing too well. But near death will not stop her because she can still fight and kill. And she's also good with a bow and arrow, which we'll also check off the list because every girl these days needs to be good with the bow and arrow. So skipping over more stuff, her and Kai both win. Victory! Yay!
They both win?
So a couple
Okay.
people win, a couple people die, but Peyton and Kai win the first round. There's this mean one-dimensional girl named Blair. She's going to be Peyton's enemy, and her main purpose is to be mean and bully Peyton. And her power is that she's a telepath, which means that she can move things with her mind.
That's cool.
So now Peyton decides that she just wants to leave the castle to go visit Luke. And she's just able to escape the palace. She's a prisoner here, if you really think about it. But she escapes because she's sneaky, sneaky. I think she actually goes back to her old house where her dad lived, but I drew it as her little shack. But she goes back to her house. And
It's
then
funny how it's called loot and she's a thief.
but when she goes to her house, she runs into these people called the Resistance. Now, the Resistance wants to make it like a free Ilia, where the people that are banished can live peacefully. So they kind of want to take out the king. The Resistance is being led by this guy named Calum,
Mhm.
who is in charge of the Resistance. Calum is a mind reader, so he's also not allowed if you think about it. They want to take down the king and live peacefully, but they need to find a way into this place called the Bull Arena, which is where the last trial will be held. What they want Peyton to do here is get close to it so that he can show her a secret tunnel to get from the castle into the bowl.
Why would he tell her that?
Why would he, right? Anyway, so there's another bowl, another trial. Peyton bonds more with Kai, and they both survive. So then one day, Kit comes to her room and he asks her if she can take him to Luke because he wants to know more about his kingdom and what's happening outside of it. And so she's like, "Okay, but we're going to need to find a secret way to get out of here." And he's like, "I got it. Here's the secret passage, and here's my key to the secret passage." And so from there, he shows her how to get to exactly where she needs to go. And now this is what really bothers me, because this is what I was expecting from this story when I was reading it. I was expecting something smarter. And why would I bother expecting that? Her best friend Adina can go through walls. I was expecting her to go to Adina and say, Adina, can you help me find the secret passage? If we just go to this place, you can go through the door and then we can find our way out of here or through
That's a
here.
good point. That's a really good point.
Adina is already in the palace. She doesn't even have to sneak Adina in. She could go through walls. It would have been easy. She didn't even have to betray Kit and trick him or anything.
I didn't even think about that.
I did the whole time.
Huh.
She's going to get her friend to go and she's going to get her friend to do this. The friend does nothing besides make dresses. Anyway, so she takes Kit to Loot and she's like, look at how these people are all mistreated here, Kit. And he's like, you're right. I could do something better. I can be a great king. She's like, you can, Kit. You can be a great king. And like they kind of bond in this moment for a little bit.
Is this his first time seeing the peasants?
It is his first time seeing the peasants, yes. And so
Okay.
the next ball comes, she dances with Kit and she steals his key out of his pocket. And then she goes and she dances with Kai. And then she runs outside and he follows after her. And they have a moment of like smoochy woochy moment. But then a guard comes, he's like, hey. And so they don't smoochy woochy. And so here's the third and final trial. It's a big, huge maze. The king announces that in the middle of the maze, there's a criminal, and you are to put the criminal to death. And then Peyton finally gets to the middle, and you wonder who the criminal is? It's Adina.
Ah, what?
And then Peyton finds
What'd
her.
she do?
She did nothing. The king's just a meanie.
She
But
didn't do anything? Okay, okay, I need to calm down. I'm sorry.
And so Peyton finds her and she's like, Adina. And then she sees that her little fingers are all broken and she's all sad and she's like, Adina, ah! And then a branch cuts through her chest. I don't know how
Oh my gosh.
And then you wonder, oh no, who killed Adina? And then I think we can all guess who it is. It's Blair. Blair killed Adina. And so absolute chaos erupts in the bowl because Peyton told the resistance how to get in. And then they figured out their way there. And so the resistance and all the ordinary like people with like the powers are fighting the elite people with their powers. But Peyton manages to escape. And then the king comes and he attacks her. I wasn't sure how to draw this part without it looking very wrong. So she's like, you killed my father. And he's like, no, I didn't kill your father. So what? Who killed her dad? You want to know who killed her dad? It was baby boy Kai.
What?
This
How
is
could she mistake a child for a grown man?
That's a good question. And this is also what bothers me is because she's always haunted by Kit. Throughout the book, you hear, I look into his green eyes and I see my father's killer. Like, how do you confuse this? This is a big old giant man, and Kai was like a little 12-year-old boy at this time. How do you mistake that? And Kai's got gray eyes.
I
No
was about to
way.
say he doesn't even have green eyes. What the heck?
Like, there's no way for her to mistake this. So he's on top of her and he carves an O into her chest. And then Peyton, in all of her female rage, overcomes him and jumps on top of him and gets her little knife out and she stabs him to death. The dad's power is that he's really, really strong. And they call them brawny. His power is to be a super strong guy. And he's taken out by this little powerless girl and killed by her.
I don't know how to respond to this.
Taken over a grown man, check. Oh yeah, and then Kai's there and he saw the whole thing. And so he's like, I'm gonna give you like 30 seconds to run away because I care about you. And so she runs away, and that's the end of book one.
It's so stupid. The
Oh,
story is so stupid.
it is. It's frustratingly stupid.
It was just it caught me off guard when just the knife went down. Like,
I do want to say one thing that's kind of nice. I want to give credit where it's due. So, Powerless is a YA. The first book, I think it does itself what it's supposed to. It tells a little story. It's not meant for older people like plenty of YAs are doing this day, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to be a little bit PG about it. And I think the first book is fine because it's her first book, and I think she wasn't expecting it to go this big, but I will not excuse the other books after this.
okay.
They rant and rave